Just keep swimming. That line from Finding Nemo stuck with me when I was 9 years old. I remember watching it for the first time, wide-eyed and naive, and I savored the ending, the lovable family reunion. As a child, I was content with the happily ever after, but as I grew up, I instead asked, what's next? It kept me wondering what happened after, what happened next. And to answer that question, of course, there was a sequel called Finding Dory. But a lot of times there aren't follow-ups. There isn't a story after the finale, the glorified happily ever after. Happily ever after. A phrase heard so often in childhood, it brings back nostalgic memories of fairy tales. Fairy tales of wonder, happiness, and utopia. Beginning with Once Upon a Time and ending with Happily Ever After, these stories inspire idealism, and we feed these stories to our children. Why shouldn't we? Right? They are whimsical and magical, where everything ends in joy. After all, these are the stories I grew up with. They were my home and haven. Places I would go to take refuge and solace from the mundanity of reality. I've watched Frozen at least 10 times and loved every single one. I like how everyone was portrayed as being imperfect, but also real and celebrated for those flaws. Like Elsa with her uncontrollable powers and Anna with her weird quirks and clumsiness. I loved the ending too, how Elsa embarked on a journey of self-discovery and growth and finally saved Anna and their kingdom. It celebrated the power of sisterhood and the power of sibling love, which is very underrepresented in movies. It showed me that with the support of your friends and family, anything is possible. It made me think about my baby sister, whom I cherish and adore, and how, like Elsa, I would do anything for her. And I believed in the happily ever after, that whatever happened, it would all work out in the end. That as long as I was good and tried my best with the people who mattered supporting me, I would get what I wanted. But unfortunately, that doesn't always happen. I thought that I was the main character in my story with a purpose, and that I would stop at nothing to achieve it. But as it turns out, the picture isn't so rosy. I bought into that lie and then was so heartbroken and disappointed when it wouldn't come true. Like when I was doing a philosophy research paper on feminism and devoted so much time to it, but just messed up the final presentation. When the teacher asked us questions about our topic, I was tongue-tied and at a loss for words. I felt like I had disappointed myself. This was something that I was deeply passionate about, and letting it go like that? Such a waste. I couldn't let them know how much the empowerment of women mattered to me, just because at that very moment, my mind went blank. And our mentor was looking at us worried. Throughout our presentation, I could see the disappointment written on her face. I let myself, my teammates, and my mentor down. I was so frustrated with myself. I asked, what was the point of all that repetitive drilling and incessant practice when it would only end up as nothing? Just a waste, a disappointment. I felt so scrammed. I felt so broken. I was always such an idealist and clung onto perfection. And when that wasn't reached, I would beat myself up. It was all or nothing. And at that moment, it was nothing. I was nothing. All I ever tried was my best and never gave up and just kept on swimming. But sometimes, the wave currents are too strong and you just can't help but turn back. But just as I was going to spiral down into that toxic self-hatred, I remembered my friends. They were right there, fighting the fire beside me and cheering me on. I realized that it was with their support that I could get through this. I thought about how much I learned about gender and identity and how that helped me find clarity in my own identity. It was not the first time I had slowed down to reflect on my experiences. It made me think about the first time I learned that lesson, that the ending doesn't define the story. It was from a movie. It was the first time I cried because of the movie. I was watching Soul. It's about a jazz pianist who has a near-death experience, gets stuck in the afterlife, and seeks to reunite his separated body and soul. He meets a soul, 22, and tries to show her the wonders of living. In the process, he ends up contemplating his choices and regretting the existence that he mostly took for granted. discussed the meaning and purpose of life, of lost dreams and forgotten passions. It was exactly what I needed in that state of emotional turmoil. It taught me that just because it ends in disaster, it doesn't mean that it never meant anything at all. The tragic ending doesn't define the story. The conclusion isn't the process, because it was beautiful, even for the short while it lasted. It taught me that we are all already enough. We can ordinarily enjoy life without needing to accomplish or prove anything. I realized that no spectacular presentation or awe-filled applause can match the joy of doing what I love with the people I love. I would cherish those bittersweet memories of bonding with my mentor and friends over long philosophical debates. And that's such a liberating perspective that no, you don't have to be someone great and accomplish something amazing to make your life worth living. Life is in the little things. It's in the morning breeze and pizza and open conversations with the people who matter. It's in the smiles from strangers and folding origami butterflies during math lessons and the smell of soil after it rains. It's in the adorable giggles and laughs of my baby sister when I come home to her. But if you do want to do great things, go for it. But know that it'll be a bumpy road and you may not get what you desire. But that's alright, since it's just a small chapter in your life and there are many more to come. It shifted my perspective when I saw that this experience is just one of a myriad of countless others and other meaningful things in life. This presentation may not have been the best, but it gave me so much joy and isn't going to ruin my life. Now, I look at my baby sister, she's 3, and having her little princess face, and I would look at her forlornly with such a heavy heart when I hear her read fairy tales, because one day, she's gonna have to grow up and realize that unicorns aren't real, that a princess isn't a real job, and that maybe all her dreams won't come true. And it breaks my heart to know that that would eventually happen, because all I ever wanted for her was the best. It's tragic that she's gonna have to lose her innocence and break her own heart, just like how I did, and how every single one of you has. But with that loss of childhood also comes maturity and even healing when you make peace with your past. I was there with her when she first fell down while stumbling to take her first step, and I'll be there with her through every coming disappointment. Because in the end, we all become stories. We all become beacons of the experiences we've lived, and it's your choice what they are. I'm gonna write my own story with everything I do, and this very TED Talk may be one of its highlights. My baby sister is gonna write her own story too, and I'll be there to support her every step of the way. And it's the same for all of you, every single one. At the end of the day, life is a story. And perhaps the sad truth is that they may not be a happily ever after. But just because it ended badly doesn't mean that it never meant anything. It's your life and you're the main character. So what matters is that you just keep swimming. So tell me, what's your story?